Ascended Fjorm. Finally. Something interesting to talk about. Well, at least for me, and I guess leg yarn folks, and maybe those who really thought the idea of Niffle and Moosebell were cool. Oh boy, oh boy. I have quite a bit to talk about here, even before she's released, and hopefully some of you are excited as well. Let's do it.
Let the lesson begin.
What's up guys, Akariss here, bringing you another Fire Emblem Heroes video. Today's video is going to talk about Ascended Fjorm before we even know what she comes with, what banner, anything like that. I don't normally do hypothetical, speculative type of videos like this because honestly, like within a few days we'll find out all the info anyways, because I'm sure she's on that new Heroes banner coming up. But as a person with a lot of history on this channel, with this account, with Fjorm, I feel it's necessary for me to cover Fjorm and likely a pretty cool looking alt and what potential it might have for myself and maybe for you if you're interested in Fjorm, or possibly Legyarn, who's likely going to come right after. So in my opinion, I wasn't really that interested in stuff like Niffle and Moosebell, despite their uniqueness and probably pretty good stuff. Like they're fairly interesting, right? So what I've come to realize actually is with these new heroes banners that we're just gonna go have like going forward, I think they're going to expand on the lore and double down on these like unique characters, ascended forms, or just kind of like expanding the story of older characters, kind of building on like the nostalgia factor, quote unquote. And I feel they're doing this because Fire Emblem Heroes getting a bit older, I guess, and now you can kind of like look back on these favorites, these characters that you kind of like played with initially a couple of years back, and probably get older players to come back and visit the game and be like, whoa, Fjorm is like cool now, like, or something like that, or Legyarn or whatever, or there's a god of Niffle. Like all that is cool, and they are accessible too because they're on perma banners, they're sparkable, and that's pretty awesome if you ask me. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm basically going to give you my thoughts on Ascended Fjorm, give you guys a bit of history actually on my own account and why this is important to me, and then talk about some of my future plans, and maybe again you can relate in one way or another, or maybe create your own plans, or even look forward to some cool things that might be coming. Now I do think that as well, a lot of like popular characters in the games and new heroes in general have kind of like, they've released the popular characters and now they're just going to focus on these one big characters in every new heroes, like this, and Ascended Fjorm, Niffle, Moosebell, Legyarn. I'm sure we might see something like Air in some Ascended form, or Peony, or whatever, Triandro. The options are limitless here, right? So anyways, let's go into some details and thoughts that I have about this overall. Before we do, smash the like button, sub if you haven't already. Seriously, it does help me, guys, and as routine as it is, you know, for me to continue making content, do just a little bit more, and that'll mean a lot to me so that I can keep giving you this stuff, because it is what it is, YouTube stuff. All right, so Fjorm, and I'll start with the art. I like it a lot. I personally kind of appreciate this sort of style. It's very graceful, so I dig the new Fjorm outfit. I'm okay with the art as well, but I'm not very critical of this sort of stuff in general. So nice. It just fits Fjorm as a princess of ice, and you know, just yeah, just what it is. Like, I like the art, so as long as they don't mess it up, we don't have like a giraffe neck with like Sophia or Elwood's weird eyes or something like that, I will probably be pretty happy about it. So that's cool. It's always nice to look at that. But before we do jump into some of the more speculative stuff that I feel is going to happen here, I wanted to actually talk quickly about why Fjorm in general is important to me. These are my screenshots on the left here, and that is basically my Fjorm. And I've been using Fjorm literally since 2017. Literally, the character on this account, like the account was made totally F2P on the first release of the Legendary banner with Fjorm. So this was like basically late 2017, and it took me about a year and a half or so to finally get her to plus 10. So I'd say somewhere in like late 2018, I think I probably plus 10 her, or maybe 2019. I can't totally remember, but I'm sure it's on the YouTube channel if you like go dig through it, where it exactly happened. And she's been basically lots of ups and downs. So this is like her current build that I literally used in last night's arena run, and she does great. Honestly, I'm kind of pretty happy with how her refine actually ended up being. Beedle is good. Ice Mirror 2 is good. Like, she's good in general. I probably underrated her a little bit on my water legendary tier list. So if I was to review that, I'd probably put her even higher now. So scoring is basically her biggest weakness. But generally speaking, I actually use her in like all content. So like over here, you're gonna see the build there was like something similar to what I would even use in AR with like Mirror Stance and Shield Pulse, for example. But I actually use her as a Gale Force unit with Curtains as well, and I'm pretty happy that I made that investment as well, because it's pretty awesome to get this like really tanky, high attack unit that just swoops in and does a lot of damage. And of course, looking back at Arena back in the earlier days, she has stuff like Ether and Slaying Spear, Steady Breath in the A slot. There's just a lot of like fodder and just investment that I've made into this Fjorm. So as you can see, there's a lot of history between us, and as of having 165 Arena Crowns, which is the maximum that you can have, yeah, she's been around for quite a while, and she still is there. As that Arena team there was literally the Arena team I used yesterday, and it was basically Leaf and Fjorm doing everything, and occasionally Hannah jumping in to beat up some Kroms or Dimitri or something like that. So realistically, I'm pretty happy with Fjorm's performance, and I would be really happy as well to see myself the opportunity to add the new armor Fjorm to potentially every season to core, maybe user and AR, and just really continue that trend. I don't feel like Fjorm, like it'll take a while before she falls off, and I'm sure new skills will still keep her in relevancy in the long term, so I don't see my water legendary going anywhere. But I just wanted to kind of share that little bit of history with you guys on Fjorm and how important she is to my account and to like my history of playing Fe in general. So there it is. Basically summoner support anytime, like fully throughout the month whenever it's water season, and it's pretty nice to have that. So that's the Fjorm thing, but I wanted to actually talk about the new Fjorm as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with her preview here on the Tempest Trials, which is running at the time of this video. So as you can see, she comes with like Darting Stance, Chill Defense, and Armored Stride, along with Niffle's Bite and Ice Mirror. So right away, I'll tell you that is definitely not the kit she's going to come out with. No way are they going to release Darting Stance 3, Chill Defense, and Armored Stride. Maybe Armored Stride, that's possible. But no way do those skills come as a way to sell the banner. That would be really disappointing. But there's definitely some like curious things that are happening here. So if you know how Niffle's Bite works, basically, it's below me here. It's a slaying weapon. It's like null C on an armor against ranged weapons, so not melee. And on top of that, it has a 2-space condition with being able to heal post-combat. So you have a little bit of like Mystic Boost, you have that null C effect, which is completely unique to armors, and you have a slaying effect. Now, the thing that's really weird here is that she does come with Ice Mirror, and I feel she will also come with Ice Mirror. It is like Fjorm's thing. What is really weird here is that like the OG Fjorm comes with Shield Pulse, which pre-activates Ice Mirror, right? So it's kind of weird if they were to like give her Shield Pulse in a kit that they would sell, because that would like waste a charge of Shield Pulses. Like, what's the point of slaying, right, on her weapon and giving her Ice Mirror and then giving Shield Pulse and over-accelerating? Something is a bit off there, but also armors can't use Times Pulse, and I don't think that IS would expect people who use Fjorm to just use Quick Impulse. So here's where things get a bit interesting, and something is not quite right. Here's where I think we're going with this. So first of all, I wanted to show you the stat spread that is kind of like predicted without the Tempest Trials effects. As you can see, she reaches at a 190 BST and is high speed, high res, lower defense, lowish attack, but decent enough. So this is a typical Fjorm stat spread, if you ask me, with actually decent speed. No, it's literally Fjorm stat spread. Very middling. She's always been very middling, nothing been maxed. So what is interesting here is if they do end up maybe going 191 with a super boon, she could end up at the highest scoring bracket with the other duos, and I think legendaries as well, that reach about that much, which would be really cool, and definitely one of the key ingredients for me wanting to invest into her among with many other people. Because what this seems like is that she would be a potentially good far save armor with Ice Mirror, healing effect, and of course those conditions of being near friends. But the thing that's really odd to me is of course that whole ice mirror interaction with a slaying weapon. If they didn't have that slaying effect there, I feel like they could have just given her shield pulse in the B and called it a day. Now another thing to realize is that Niffle and Moonspell came with preference C skills, so I could see new Fjorm definitely coming with a new preference skill, and if she did, then I would feel like it would be actually in the B skill, which could be something unique to her and only her. And this is where things get very interesting. So to make Ice Mirror work, you would essentially need some sort of shield pulse that is maybe just a single charge accelerated further. So like a times pulse but in the B slot. And then also keeping that effect of like damage reduction, the extra 5 damage off of shield pulse. Or maybe a special spiral effect where the Ice Mirror charges itself again post usage. This is the kit that I feel is possible to happen, and I could be completely wrong here, but here's a couple of things that I feel are right about the skills I've chosen on New Ascended Fjorm before she even comes out. Maybe I'm drinking too much copium and this is just really hoping for something, but I feel there are some dots that we can connect here. So Niffle and Moonspell came with ARD level 4 skills, and if we are going to follow a certain pattern there, then I feel like Fjorm and Legyarn are definitely designed with ARO in mind, and they are probably going to come with the opposite ARO skills at level 4, which in this case could mean that Fjorm comes with ARO attack speed 4. And if you know how bad the ARO skills are, then they definitely would need a level 4 and a revamp on how they work. So I'm not going to spend the time here speculating how they'll change that, but probably the conditions will be easier where you're getting a lot of stats out of it. She already has a good attack and speed stat, and since this is Ice Mirror 1 instead of 2, it means that taking more damage actually reflects more damage as opposed to Mirror 2, which scales off of res, which means you don't have to necessarily bulk her up. You actually can rely on Ice Mirror and like Shield Pulse's reduction to actually throw back a lot of damage. Plus she has healing in her weapon. So this is already somewhat synergistic as an ARO unit. Now, as I said, since Niffle and Moonspell came with preference C skills, I see a preference B skill being likely, and if it was something, it would be some sort of mix of Shield Pulse, Special Spiral, or Times Pulse to make that Ice Mirror consistent, because it really isn't without Quick Impulse, and that just like kind of makes her awkward because she just has a dead Seal slot or a dead Special. We could very likely just see a scenario where they expect you to sub out Ice Mirror for something like Iceberg and then just run like a Steady Breath Seal. That could totally be maybe what they envision, but to me it's very weird to have a slaying weapon with Ice Mirror and no other sort of pre-charge going on. So again, Copium, if she comes with a preference B, that's gonna be pretty awesome. Now finally, as I mentioned, since her weapon seems like it's a against range, it makes sense that far save would make the most sense, and we don't have any form of far save in the permanent pool yet. So I don't think she necessarily would come with attack res far save. It could be any variant of it, could be defense res, attack speed, who knows, some sort of far save, and this would definitely incentivize Fjorm players, people who want good fodder, or someone who wants high scoring, or a good AR unit, all packaged into one unit in an upcoming New Heroes banner. I would tell you right now that if something like this was to drop, I would very likely spark it, and maybe consider plus 10ing her over the long term because she'd be a good scoring unit, she'd find use in AR offense, she's a favorite. So for me, this would be a very easy call, but I just wanted to get you guys thinking about this because for me it's pretty exciting, and honestly it wasn't really, like I didn't care too much about Niffle and Moonspell, but if something like this happens, then I'm definitely interested. And as you guys saw, I do have the orb saved over there, so I can definitely afford to dip in and see what I could do at least to get the guaranteed copy and play around with a new version of Fjorm. So this is very exciting for me, and I can't wait to cover it in a few days. Hopefully you guys are maybe as well. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of Fjorm or maybe Legyarn. What might I have missed here? Because, yeah, it's been a while since I've done some speculation and talks like this. If you liked the video, definitely smash the like button. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. So just some final things here. I am still streaming every day on Twitch, or mostly every day, most days, and I am doing a lot of Fjorm gameplay because it is water month, so definitely come check that out if you want to. She's been really good for me. And as of that, I also am in Halloween month, October month, so I'm currently playing through Resident Evil 2 Remake with Claire, and Lickers definitely scare me quite a bit. So yeah, there is something to be had and watched through that. And with that being said, I am done for today's video. Thank you for watching. Smash like button, sub, and check out the Patreon if you want to support the content. It's for as little as like a McDouble from McDonald's. So honestly, I'd say most people can probably pitch in if they wanted to and they want to keep seeing this content, because that is what it takes as a content creator to put in the time. Got to be meaningful. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Much love. Peace.
It's over.